Welcome back to Right Fashion Academy YouTube channel for another interesting tutorial. So in this class, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful petal design you are seeing right there on the thumbnail. So I just made one piece of this design, and I want to show you the professional way of making this. So you can make as many as possible. You can make 30 pieces of it, 40 pieces of it, and attach them on your dress where you want them to be. Okay, so right here you can see I've already made one piece, and I also beaded and decorated with my flower patches. So where I have the center flower patches, if I have 3 or 4 joining together, I'll be using my flower patches to cover it after sewing that part. So if this is what you want to learn, please stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. Thank you. In this class, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful petals design on a dress. So you can see that the design we have right there is very stylish, and I'm making use of my lace fabric to sew this, or to show you how to make this. So you can use any lace fabric of your choice. It's your design. You can even use a plain fabric. You can use an organza. You can use even Ankara to make these beautiful lace petals and attach them. It will actually take time, but if you gradually make these beautiful petals, as you can see, I think you'll be happy with your work. So I'm using this lace, I'm using this bias. Okay, so I'll be using my bias strip. I didn't actually get a matching color of my bias, but then I just use something close to it. But if you are making yours, please get a color that is close. And I'm using my 1.5 mm copper wire. So the copper wire, I did not remove the back cover of it. I'll be working with it the way it is right here. Okay, this is 1.5 mm. So you can see the copper wire in there, but I just decided to work, insert. I'm going to use this the way it is. So the first thing we want to do right now, before we start sewing these beautiful petals, is to make our pattern. Okay, so to get a professional result, you need a pattern. Okay, as a fashion designer, you need your pattern for every work you want to make. So my petals depends on how big or how high I want them to be. So I'll first of all make a center line to create my petal. So for this design, you can make different kind of petals. You can make them at different lengths. Okay, so the petal I'm working with is 6 inches. That is what I want to make, and I'll get the mid 6 inches. I don't want too much of it. And at this 6 inches, I'll get the midpoint, and on that midpoint, I'm going to make another line, dotted line. So from this center line, I will now go ahead and measure the width of my petal. I want my petal at 1.5, 1.5. That is the whole width from here to here will be 3 inches. So I just go ahead now and place my pattern ruler to create this petal shape. So from this 3 inches, I'll just place my pattern ruler and connect the shape. So this shape depends on this way again, and I'm going to connect to this point, and then I'll finish it up by connecting from that point to nothing. That is depending on the style of or shape of petal you are making right here. So you can see that I have my petal shape. So this will be the upper part, and this will be the down piece of my petal. So I'll just go ahead and cut my pattern for this petal. All right, so now you can see my petal, the shape I want for this petal design. So I'll just bring my lace fabric now, and I'm going to put it together. Let me just turn the back of it and cut. So I'll put it together and cut. The lace will serve as both lining and fabric for me. So I'll pin my pattern. So no matter how many number I want to make, if I'm making 20 pieces, I'll place my pattern this way, okay, and cut. So that is why you need pattern, so you have everything the same shape, okay. So I'm adding my seam allowances now to this petal. I'm adding 0.5 inch, 0.5 inch. Can you see that? So I've already added my seam allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take off my pattern, and then since I placed it right side to right side, you can see the front side, so I'm good to go. No need to start turning my petals and and all that. So we'll be going over to the machine now. I'll show you how to use your bias to sew this and then insert your copper wire. All right, so it's time for us to start sewing the petal. Okay, so I'm sewing from the lower under part of this petal, and I'm using my bias to sew this. Okay, so when you are placing this bias, you can see how the bias comes. This is how it comes. I'm sewing it the way it came. I'm not opening it up. So I'll just place it, I have to right side to right side. So I'll just place it this way. Can you see? And I will stitch as 0. Remember I added 0.5, so from here to here is my 0.5, from here to here. Then I place my bias. So I'll just sew at the tip of that bias. So you can see how I place the bias. I placed the upper part, okay, which I'll call the wrong part, on top, and the right part below it, okay. So I'll keep sewing at the edge of it, leaving, I'm just sewing on the 0.5 seam allowance. I believe you understand my explanation. So you can see how I'm navigating. You can still sew on top of your, pins if you want. So you can see me taking the shape of the petal. So I'll keep sewing and following the shape. So this is not what you are going to rush, okay. This is what you are going to take your time. You have to take your time. And I return and close it up again this way. Okay, I'm not supposed to close it up. I'm sorry about that. We need to leave a space right here, okay, because we will be turning it from that point. So I'll just quickly open up that space right now. All right, so I just opened up this space, okay. So just make sure you open a space where you are going to turn. But after sewing, I will advise you to trim off the edges, okay. So I just make a little trimming of the excess lace fabric. But when you are doing that, please you need to be careful you don't cut out your already seam line. So while I'm cutting off or trimming off this particular lace fabric, while I'm taking it off is so I will have a smooth finishing after I turn it. So the part I opened, I'm going to turn my petal. So you can see once I turn it, you can see the bias inside it. So if you want, you can go ahead and give it a good press before you continue. So I'll just give it a good press. So if you look here, you can see my bias is there. So let me give it a good press and stabilize it first. Then we'll proceed to inserting our wire. So now I've given it a good press and I've stabilized my petal. Can you see that? So if you look here, you see the line of that bias. So that is what we are going to use to create the channel right now for our copper wire. So this front I turn now, that is where you have the front bias. So you have to be careful when fixing it. You don't place the part that is the wrong side of the bias. Okay, so I take this as my back and I take this as my front. So I will now sew on the tip of that bias to create the channel. Okay, so when you are doing that, don't start from, so you don't close up the point of the channel. So I'll just start somewhere from here and I'll back stitch and I'm creating the channel right now. So I'm creating it gently and slowly. Like I said before, this work is not what you rush. So I'm creating the channel just at the edge of the bias. Okay, the bias. So I'll stop before this point so I don't close up the point of my design. Okay, so that is that. I'm done. So if you look well, you will see the lines as well. Can you see the lines? So with a matching thread, nobody sees what happens again. So I'll now go ahead and insert. I'm going to insert now. So that is why I said don't close. So let me start from this part to insert. So I'm inserting this inside I'm hiding it inside the bias. Okay, so I'll keep moving it. So I'm hiding it from the back. So you know we are working with a copper wire, so it can bend and bend, so you can just go ahead and take it easy. So you can see I've already come out of it now. Okay, so you keep pushing it, you know, pushing it till you have it enter into that casing. So once it enters into that casing, this is it for you. Okay, so the copper wire will now give it that structure that you desire. So I'll just pull it in a little more. Okay, just a little more. I just want it to come out a little more so I can now arrange it the way I want. Can you see? So by the time I arrange it and I stretch it, it gives me what I want. So I'll just go ahead and tie the copper wire. Then if you have a strong scissors like mine, you can go ahead and cut at that point. Okay, so this is it and this is the front. So you can see that the front, you now arrange it the way, can you see? So you just take your time, and because this is copper wire and it can, you know, squeeze. If I squeeze it this way, can you see the shape it gives me? if I open it, it stays this way. So we want it to stay this way on this shape. So I just take my time and have it stay this way on this shape. So this is the front piece of this design. Can you see? So by the time I place it facing the front, nobody sees what happens at the back. Although the back also looks neat, but nobody sees what happens. So it's the front that is covered by the bias, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and make, more of them. So it depends on what you actually want. If you want it, a little more, is your design, is your choice. If you want, you can go ahead and bead on it. Okay, so you can go ahead and bead on it as well. So just pick up your beads and design that. Okay,